Great. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and just give you a quick idea of our agenda for this evening. So we're going to introduce our committee, and then we're going to have a quick icebreaker. And Lynn is going to give us a review from last time's event from the Salvation Army. And then Nancy's going to share about South Central Early Childhood Intervention Program. And we're going to have a door prize draw and learn all about the wonderful things happening in Moose Jaw. So I would invite Della. Do you want to be the first to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Della Ferguson, and I'm proud to be a part of the Moose Jaw Women Who Care, and I'm also on Square One and Journey to Hope and Heartland Hospice, and I'm a grief support worker.
Excellent. Thank you. Lynn?
I am with Moose Jaw Women Who Care, and it's been really good. And I am a retired teacher and managed to keep busy.
Excellent. Thank you. Joan?
I'm also retired from early childhood development in the health district. I think it's 6 or 7 years, and I'm happy to be part of Moose Jaw Women Who Care, and I'm involved in several volunteer things in the community. So,
Excellent. Thank you. And Christine?
Hi, Christine Wojcik. I'm glad to be a member of the Women Who Care and involved in some volunteer activities and still doing a little work with Moose Jaw literacy.
Yes, a little work, Christine. I think it's a lot. And Krista?
Hi, I'm Krista Kosh, and I'm very happy to be part of the Moose Jaw Women Who Care as well. And I'm also part of the organization that's been chosen tonight. So I'm happy to be serving on both accounts. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm Nicole Lilico, and I learned about the 100 Women Who Care during my studies at the University of Regina. And so we had our first event last March. Or March of 2021 rather, sorry. And we come together to learn about different agencies in our community and the work they do here, and also, of course, to raise some funds, because as we know, it's expensive today to do anything, really, even gas. So we wanted to raise awareness for charities that do work in our area and in Moose Jaw itself, and also to bring women together, because one person can do a little, but together we can do a lot. And so that's kind of why we decided to start. And we've had the pleasure of having a number of different agencies share, including Square One Community and Moose Jaw Family Services, Inc., Heartland Hospice, and Salvation Army in Moose Jaw. So it's been really exciting, and I've learned a lot about work in our community that I had no idea has been going on, and all the fabulous people who are doing that work and serving our community. So I'm just really grateful that you ladies are here to join us. And one change we've made, we're still called Moose Jaw Women Who Care, but we are open to all folks in Moose Jaw and areas. So any gender is welcome at our table, and we look forward to growing. It's been kind of tough during COVID, but we are really hoping to continue growing in the future.
Almeida was really looking forward to talking with us tonight to share an update of some of the work done since last fall, but she is ill and can't be here. So she asked me to read this message that she sent to me by email. So these are her words. First, I would like to send my sincere regrets for not being able to attend the function this evening due to illness. It was indeed a privilege to host and share a little history of the Salvation Army and the passion that our co-founders had many years ago that brought us to where we are today. We are so thankful for the generosity of individuals and organizations in our city who express passion and care for others. We are so thankful to this group, 100 Women Who Care, for choosing the Salvation Army as a beneficiary in October of last year to receive such a generous donation. We have been and continue to be a movement that desires to help others in all areas of life, and it is through the donations of wonderful organizations like yours that we get to do what we do. So again, on behalf of the Salvation Army and the many guests we serve daily, we thank you. The donation received from 100 Women Who Care totaled $1,300. These funds were used to help fund a gap noticed in our community, our brown bag breakfast program. We were able to provide 325 breakfasts, which included juice or water, fruit or fruit cup, muffin, bagel and cream cheese, or a croissant and cheese and coffee from those funds received. The number of guests we serve fluctuates daily and monthly. In January, we provided 344 breakfasts to those who would otherwise go hungry. Thank you all for what you do for this community. Together, we can make a difference. Blessings, Lieutenant Almeida.
Excellent. Thank you, Lynn, for sharing that with us. And Joan, I will turn it over to you now.
So it's my pleasure to introduce Nancy Rosnes tonight, who's the Executive Director of South Central ECIP. And I won't say much about what they do because I know Nancy will tell us. But when you talk to Nancy, you know what a passion she has for her job. I believe she got involved because her own daughter was on the caseload and she was a board member. And I believe she's worked there since 2006 and been executive director since 2010. If I've got anything wrong,
no,
tell me. But when you talk to Nancy, as I said, you know she has such a passion for what she does. And South Central ECIP has always been something I've been so impressed with because they do so much with limited resources and can certainly use our support. So I think I'm turning it over to Nancy now, unless there was something else I should say. And it was just my delight to talk to her, and she did remember who I was.
Thank you, Joan. And Nancy, it's yours.
Okay, well, I'm going to start sharing. Do I have sharing abilities, Nicole?
Yes, you do now, Nancy. I made you a host.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Oh, where did it go? That's not it. Is that showing up on the screen? Can you guys see? Okay, wonderful. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you all for being here tonight. We're very excited to be selected by the Women Who Care as the community organization they would like to support and raise funds for this month. I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about ECIP, and I hope you enjoy the presentation.
You may be concerned about your child's development. The early years are most important to achieve the best outcomes for healthy development in children. Where can you go to share your concerns and find information that will help you? The Early Childhood Intervention Program, ECIP, is a province-wide network of home and community-based services provided to families with children from birth to school age who experience or are at risk for developmental delays. We know that the best place for every child is in a family, and the best place for every family is in a caring and welcoming community. ECIP is family-centered, child-focused, and works together with the family and caregivers to incorporate developmental activities within everyday routines. ECIP believes in the inclusion of the family in everyday life, how a child is connected to the family and how the family is connected to the community is key to building capacity. ECIP understands that all families are unique, have a variety of cultural backgrounds, have few or many needs, have strengths, resilience, hopes, and dreams. ECIP begins where the family is ready to begin, and together they build the skills needed to be effective advocates and nurturers of the child's healthy development. ECIP assists in developing a family service plan, facilitates referrals to other agencies, collaborates with community partners, and helps with transition to other programs. ECIP organizations share the vision that all families have the capacity to meet the developmental needs of their children in the community of their choice. To learn more about the Early Childhood Intervention Program in your area, please visit ecip.ca.
Oh, why is that not going? So ECIP is a charitable organization that was incorporated on September 19th, 1983, and has been providing quality early childhood intervention services for almost 40 years now. ECIP provides support and programming to families who have children birth to age 6, who are experiencing a delay in their development, have a diagnosed delay, or who are at risk for delay. And as such, they are not meeting their typical developmental milestones. There are 14 ECIP programs located across the province. 12 are nonprofit charitable organizations, and 2 are operated out of the school divisions. All of the nonprofit charitable organization ECIPs are overseen by a volunteer board of directors made up of members from the community who have an interest in the early years and in the goals in the work of ECIP. So this slide just shows the map of all of the ECIP programs across the province, and then South Central's region. We have quite a large region covering the entire South Central area of the province. And although we're one of the smaller ECIPs staff-wise and funding-wise, we still have this large geographical area to cover. ECIP, all of the ECIP programs often work very closely together. Even though we have, we share the borders. We have our borders, but, we share quite often. If, say, we have a family in the Aylesbury or the Craik area, and the Regina region ECIP may get a referral for a family who requires services in Chamberlain, they'll often phone over and say, are you guys up in that Craik area? And if we are, we'll say, yeah, by all means. And they'll send the referral here and we'll help them out that way, rather than them driving all the way out from Regina. If we're already out in that area, we'll service families close by as well. So we all work very closely together, all of the ECIPs in the province. And ECIP, what does ECIP do? We work with the family to enhance all areas of the child's development and to work on goals that are designed specifically to help that child reach his or her specific developmental milestones. ECIP helps strengthen families' knowledge, skills, and supports as they assist their child to reach his or her fullest potential. We connect families with other community agencies and services as required, and provide an important link between families and other professionals. We also support smooth transitions into school and other center-based programs and services as required. So the early years of a child's life are very important. I think we all know that for later health and development. One of the main reasons is that how fast the brain starts growing before birth and continues into those early childhood years. Although the brain continues to change and develop right into adulthood, the first 8 years are really, they build the foundation for future learning, health, life, and success. Healthy childhood development includes not only the physical developmental domains, but also the emotional, behavioral, cognitive, language, and general learning competencies. Screening, early identification, linkage to appropriate services can help prevent children who are experiencing delays from progressing to higher levels of risk. For these groups, early intervention can yield the greatest social and economic returns. It was Professor James Heckman, who is a professor of economics. He stated that statistics show that for every dollar spent on early intervention, $8 are saved into the future. That's why it's so very important that we have early intervention programs and all of the other services that help with a child's early development. And this slide just shows what a typically developing brain looks like. And on the right, you'll see one that has experiencing developmental delay. And that's why we do what we do. Every child inspires possibilities. Every child has untapped potential that no one has the right to limit. Who knows the heights that any child can reach with timely, efficient, and effective support? All ECIP organizations have the vision that all families have the capacity to meet the developmental needs of their children within the community of their choice. Shouldn't matter where a family chooses to reside, they should be able to get the services and the supports that their child needs within that community. ECIP also believes that parents and caregivers are experts on their children. We support this and we aim to provide additional knowledge about development, about the child's needs, the child's abilities, and helping the child understand and connect, or helping the family understand and connect with their child. We also believe that above all children need to be seen as children first, and that all children can benefit from early intervention, need to be provided with appropriate opportunities in education, leisure, recreation, and other community activities within the least restrictive environment possible for them, and need readily available access to special resources and facilities as required. Some of the services that ECIP provides include home visits, developmental screening and programming, child development support, connecting families to other services, school and community transitions, and all of these services that ECIP provides, they're provided at no cost to the families whatsoever. They're all provided free of charge. The main areas of focus, the services that we provide can be divided into child development area, family support, or community connections. So those are our three main focus areas. ECIP was originally developed as a home visiting service to provide services for mostly the families living in the rural areas so that they didn't have to travel so far to main centers where they would receive therapy services for their children, and they could have more frequent therapy services in their home where their child is more comfortable. So that service model has been maintained throughout the years. And it also includes visits at community locations such as parks, playgrounds, within Moose Jaw here, the Yarra Center, family resource centers, etc. During the pandemic in 2020 and the resulting lockdowns thereafter, ECIP's province-wide pivoted on a dime, and we continue to provide services to families virtually, as well as with drop-off programming or activity bags. During a time of the lockdowns when even physical therapy, occupational therapy ceased providing services, ECIPs never did. We provided services all the way through the pandemic. And then as things began to reopen again, many ECIPs began offering services within the office for those families who weren't quite ready or comfortable having anyone in their home yet. And all ECIPs are continuing with this hybrid service delivery model of home visits, community visits, office visits, virtual when needed, or dropping off activity bags, just because it's proven to be very, very successful. We meet our families where they're at, and this is part of meeting their needs, whether they want to be visits at home or in the office. So with the developmental screening and programming, we use a variety of different screening tools to assess a child's growth and development throughout his or her time with ECIP. Over the years, ECIP has used many, many different types of screening tools. The main screening tools we use now are the ASQ, which is the Ages and Stages, the ASQ-SE, which is the Ages and Stages social emotional component of it. And then our main evaluation tool is called the AEPS, which is the Assessment, Evaluation, and Programming System for Infants and Children. So the interventionist will work with the family to develop individual goals for the child to reach his or her next developmental milestones. The interventionist talks and works closely with the family to understand what their goals are for their child and what's important to them as a family overall. And kids learn through play. I think we all know that. Play is their work. Every activity that a child does during his or her day is an opportunity for learning, whether they're playing with blocks, reading a book, doing a puzzle, playing make-believe, folding laundry with mom, handing dad tools in the garage, helping bake a cake. Absolutely everything a child does, they're learning. So our interventionists use a large variety of play-based activities to help the child meet his or her developmental goals. And to the layperson, it often looks like we're just playing toys with the child, but the child's actually working very, very hard. They could be working on things such as spatial awareness, eye-hand coordination, finer gross motor skills, balance, texture, or other sensory issues, attention, communication skills, social skills, counting, sorting, or any end of a number of other activities that they don't even realize. They just think they're playing. So during a visit, the interventionist will have several different activities planned and will encourage the parents to participate in all aspects of the programming and activity. The interventionist coaches and models developmentally appropriate strategies and techniques that the family can use to encourage their child's development, and which they can include just as an everyday part of their daily routine. We emphasize to the family that it's not what ECIP or any other therapy program does with their child during a particular visit or over a stretch of time, but it's what the parents do with the child every day that will lead to their biggest growth. ECIP supports all families, such as birth families, grandparents, or relatives as primary caregivers, adoptive families, foster families, anybody, all families. ECIP uses a strength-based approach when working with the family. We encourage a collaborative and solution-focused way of meeting the family's and the child's needs, drawing on the family's knowledge and strength, and on the child's skills, abilities, capabilities, and ways of learning. We help the caregivers build their advocacy skills so that they can more comfortably and easily advocate for the services and things that their family and child needs. ECIP also has many different resources and programming materials that we can lend to parents and families. We research, we can provide information related to the child's delay or disability, as well as information on other supports and services that may be helpful to them, including workshops or learning sessions that may be available to them as well. And often, families just want to be heard. They want to know that what they're thinking and feeling is valid and valued, that they have a voice. Sometimes parents or caregivers just need to cry and let it all out when stress gets too much for them. ECIP provides a safe environment for families to do just that, without judgment and always with support. Many times, the interventionist will have an amazing visit planned, all sorts of fun activities, only to get to the visit to find out the family has received, some devastating news, or mom just needs to talk or cry. Immediately, the focus of the visit changes from child development to providing support to that family in whatever capacity they need. And parents and caregivers also sometimes just need an extra person at doctor appointments or daycare or school meetings for support, or as another ear to gather all the information being shared. ECIP interventionists often accompany families to these appointments to be that support person. Interventionists also often attend therapy appointments, as ECIP works closely with other agencies who are involved with the child and the family. Attending therapy and other appointments allows all service providers to be on the same page, so to speak, as we all work towards the mutual goal of helping the family help the child to reach his or her milestones. And coordinating resources is also a big aspect of what we do in the family support area. We can assist the family in accessing and utilizing appropriate resources within the community that the families themselves have identified as being possibly beneficial to help meet their child and their family's needs. We foster collaborative involvement and team management with other agencies and professionals who are also actively supporting that child and family. We make referrals to other professionals and agencies in the community when agreed upon by the family. And ECIP also supports families in the successful planning and transition into daycares, center-based early learning programming, and into the school systems. And often we can help build connections for our families on caseload with other families. Very often families feel like they're alone in dealing with a child who has a developmental delay, and ECIP can help families on caseload build connections with other families on caseload, as well as with others in the community who have indicated that they are willing and able to meet and help support our ECIP families. And ECIP also works closely with other agencies within our community. We work with daycare, schools, public health, speech services, physical and occupational therapy services, the family resource centers, Kids First program, autism program, doctors, pediatricians. We work closely with Wascana Children's Program, and not just with the community partnerships that are in Moose Jaw, but the whole South Central area, the whole, I consider that the whole community, the area that we serve. Our community involvement, ECIP is also involved very actively in the early childhood community within Moose Jaw and surrounding area. We participate in interagency collaborative partnerships in the delivery of early childhood and family support services. We encourage and participate in community capacity building for early childhood service development. We support community development by sharing early childhood development knowledge, information, and resources. And we work with other families and professionals to maintain continuity of services. So ECIP works to enhance the development in all children we serve, and we can say with utmost confidence that ECIPs get profound results. Our data shows that after just 7 months of intervention, the number of children presenting with significant delays falls from 7 in 10 children to 4 in 10 children. That's quite a significant drop. And children in the ECIP program see an explosive developmental growth rate at a rate of about 2 to 3 times that which would be expected without intervention. On overall, 90% of children will experience a rapid increase in their development within months of entering the ECIP program. In 2021-22 fiscal year, ECIPs worked with over 1,200 families province-wide in 211 communities province-wide. There was over 230 children successfully transitioned into school. Another 30 children overcame their assessed delay entirely, and families who were surveyed reported a meaningful increase in their confidence as parents. So if that's the kind of impact ECIPs are having province-wide, and that's been year after year after year, can you imagine what kind of impact we could have with more funding to hire more staff so that we could touch more children, both locally and across the province? So these slides just give a visual representation of the growth and the increase that kiddos are seeing when they participate within the ECIP program. And as a result of participating in ECIP, children will maintain or enhance their development, and they will experience successful transitions. Families report that they feel more supported within their community, and they have developed an increased number of internal family supports and external community supports. And they also report that they feel they are ready to move into another community or environment if that should be the direction their family takes. Primary caregivers report an increased knowledge about the developmental delay their child is experiencing. They're more aware of other services that could be valuable in assisting their child and their family. They have increased skills in managing their child's delay. They're more confident in their role as caregivers. They report an improvement in their relationship with their child, and they report progress on goals. So we've gathered a few quotes from families that we worked with over the years, and this is not only just our ECIP, but ECIPs province-wide. And a few of the quotes that families have shared with us with every visit from our ECIP worker, I am learning new strategies and new coping mechanisms to help my child. She also gives me insight into my child's behavior. This helps me address my concerns with the other agencies we are involved with. ECIP helps us a lot. They are nice to us, especially our son. We really appreciate the help coming from them. They make us feel we are not alone in our journey raising our son. All of these people that work with our kids become so much more than just people who work with them. They become friends, a part of our team, our mentors. When I started with ECIP, I never would have expected to look up to someone as much as I look up to and admire them. The confidence, knowledge, and help that I gained from them, and the mountain of knowledge and confidence they helped our child gain, is more than I could have ever imagined. Our regular home visits with our therapists keep me going. It gives me goals to work on and someone I can be bluntly honest with when it comes to my child. ECIP has been so helpful to us and our family, and we feel lucky to have you in our child's life and ours. You are doing such a good job already, and I don't feel your services need to be improved. Thank you for everything. We so appreciate this program. Our journey has not been an easy one, and we did not know what to do. Today is a different story. With their help, we now have respite, cognitive support, and our child is on our way to early entrance. Our interventionist is awesome. Whenever we call the office, we always have good conversations and get results. Home visits have been a positive experience. Our child is in his or her own environment and becomes more comfortable with the person providing services. The services are fantastic. Even through a pandemic, the organization did everything they could to try and stay connected with the family and support us. We've been working with our interventionist since the beginning and absolutely love her. She made an effort not just as a therapist for our child, but as a friend as well. She always made us feel comfortable to talk to her about anything, and like she really cares about us and getting our child the help he needs and deserves. They help us a lot. Now we aren't lost. Before, we didn't know what was going on. I have found this agency to be one of the most highly beneficial assets to myself and my child. The service our interventionist provided was both educational and fun for our child. By watching her work with him, it has given us ideas and activities that we can implement on our own time. She also provided advice and suggestions on various issues he was facing at various times. The best part of ECIP is their involvement in communication with other areas. It's much less stressful having our child approach kindergarten and know that he has been supported and that we can easily connect with the people needed to best help our child as he transitions to school. All the staff there are so welcoming when we go to ECIP for therapy. I would like to work there. They are a family and you can feel it when you walk in the door. The kids love them. And finally, ECIP has been an amazing benefit to our daughter and family. We look forward to every visit and are extremely happy with the ECIP program. Our interventionist is astounding. We are so happy she is in our lives. Is she on? Okay. So just before I finish off, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here for a moment. And just before I finish off with an explanation tonight of what the funds raised tonight will be used for, we have a guest joining us. Shelby is mom of a little guy who we work with, and she and her family have been a part of ECIP for the past 2 years. Shelby has been a great advocate of our program and would like to say a few words about her family's experience with ECIP. Shelby, go ahead.
Thanks, Nancy, and hi, Krista. Good to see you guys. So everyone, my name is Shelby East. As Nancy said, my son Raiden is 5 years old come this February 24th. And as of July 2022, he has been diagnosed as a nonverbal autistic with global development delay. At the beginning of my family's journey, when Raiden was only 18 months, toys. My son never really knew how to play properly with other children, let alone his own toys. My husband and I would be able to count on one of our hands at how many times we've actually heard him say mom and dad. And we both also had little to no idea on the vigorous road that we were about to be led down. On November of 2020 was the day that we did find clarity. And little did we know it would be the first time since having our son, we would have help and guidance in being parents to an autistic little boy. It was not until we met Krista and Nancy with ECIP that it was the beginning of our support team. With weekly visits to Krista and Nancy at their wonderful facility, they were able to give us resources and advice on how we were able to get Raiden's attention. But as well, they were also always available for us to talk to them when we were struggling with our bad days, such as telling us about little functions going on around town and that we were able to attend as a family. Along with the resources and advice, our appointments consisted of Krista bringing all these cause and effect toys that attracted Raiden within milliseconds, absolute milliseconds. And during the spring and summertime, it was best spent outdoors, of course. In our backyard, we've got a swing set, we've got a trampoline, we've got a sandbox, and so basically a park at our house. And during the appointments, Krista would spend most of her time jumping on the trampoline with Raiden, trying to increase his joint attention, teaching Raiden to swing on the big kid swing, or even just playing in the sandbox for some sensory play. But we can also not forget to teach Raiden how to kick and catch a ball, right, Krista? It's still a work in progress, but we're getting there. Truly, me and my husband are absolutely grateful for everything that you guys have done for us and taught us and provided for us even. ECIP's truly been life-changing for our family, and with all the support that we've had from Nancy and Krista, they're not just a part of our support team anymore, they're part of our family. So thank you guys so much for taking your time and listening to my story. And yeah, I don't know where I'd be without ECIP. So if anybody has any questions for me, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Shelby.
I would say that I would try and see if I can't find Raiden out in the pool, just to show how he's doing. It's a little loud, so heads up. Here, I'll try and see if I can't find him here. Hopefully I could turn my screen around. So my daughter is just right there. And Raiden is swimming straight over here.
Aww.
He's just in the life coat there, hopping up on the deck.
Get those wiggles out. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Shelby, for taking time tonight to share your story with us. And,
Of course. Raiden!
She's like,
we're on the run.
yeah, be careful, it's slippery.
He's going to the water slide.
Oh my God.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thanks,
Shelby.
See you
All
soon.
right. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a good trip and everything else. And hopefully you guys get tons of donations. So
Thank you.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Love you too.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Bye.
That's awesome. Awesome. So I'm just going to pop my screen back up here and just go on to the next slide. Where are we? There we go. Yeah. So any donations that we receive tonight, we will most definitely put to good use, no doubt there. As a nonprofit organization, there's always many things that are not covered by the small operating grant that we receive. One of the areas that we often discussed in the office here is just having a fund available that we could access to help any of our ECIP families on caseload who may be experiencing some sort of a financial struggle at the moment. Often for our families, transportation is a huge barrier. And while we are a home visiting program and we do go to families to deliver and provide our services in the home, we also like to run group sessions for our families at our office or at another community location, such as the Yara Center, We also partner quite often with other community agencies such as the Family Resource Center to run special activities and events which are of benefit to our families as well as the general public families. And often we run into situations where families just can't attend because they either do not have a vehicle, they're unable to access friends or family for a ride, they don't have money at that moment in time for a bus or a cab ride. You know, in situations like this, it would be wonderful to provide a voucher for our families for a cab ride or a bus pass. So that is one of our big areas that we really would like to use any donations for. And we would also like to be able to provide ECIP families with passes to community venues. We're all about, you know, getting our families out in the community, accessing what's available for them and their families. But again, sometimes there's a barrier there, the financial barrier. So if we could provide passes to, you know, like the swimming pool or the museum or any of the other community venues out there, that would be wonderful. And we also like to offer special events for our ECIP families, literacy events, our little learners group that we run. A music group would be great if we could have a music therapist in to run a weekly session. Any sort of make and take programs where we can make activities with the families, they can take them home, or they can take the supplies home to make the activities at home. Funding a child to attend a summer or other camp event. Very often our little people, they don't have, the family doesn't have the ability to, you know, immerse their child in a daycare or a preschool or, you know, anything like that. And it would be wonderful if we could maybe sponsor or fund a child to attend any one of the summer camps that often happen, the community day or week camps that are happening quite often. Hosting special topic speakers for ECIP families and staff. It would be great to have, you know, say a speech and language pathologist come in and do a session for our families on, you know, encouraging language and building those language skills. And then another area that we always try to do for our families is prepare those take and keep activity bags. While we do have the lending library here and we do lend out toys and activities to our families while they're a family on caseload, you know, oftentimes it's nice for families to have their own items and activities at home for their little people. So those are just a few of the areas where any donations received tonight will go towards. And for anybody requiring donation information, Nicole, I'm not sure how you share this with your folks, but it's up there on the screen right now. And I just want to thank everyone for allowing us time to speak with you about the ECIP program tonight. We hope that you've learned a little bit more about ECIP, that we've shared the success of the program with you, and it created a little bit more awareness about the importance of receiving early and necessary supports for the little people in our community. So I'm just going to stop sharing the screen right now. And if anybody has questions they would like to ask, feel free. Or if you don't want to ask them here, by all means, reach out to me at the office anytime by phone or email. I'm always happy to talk to people.
Well, I think I'll start by, on behalf of our group, just thanking you for such a moving and informative presentation. Just all the wonderful things and the heart behind everything you do for the families in our community. It's certainly inspiring and moving, and I think a service that isn't as well known as many others and should be. And yeah, thank you so much for your presentation and the work you do.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Joan, and thank you, Nancy, and a special thanks to Shelby, though she's gone. It was wonderful to have some real lived experience shared here tonight. It helps to really see the impact and the value that you guys provide to all of our littles and their families here in Moose Jaw and area. So as Nancy shared on her screen, you can either mail that donation to her or send it to the email address she had listed. And as she said, it'll be auto deposited. So make sure you include your mailing address so the charitable receipts can be issued. And that'll just make things easier for Nancy. So yeah, so we have no administrative costs at all as Moose Jaw Women Who Care. The finances go directly to the agency. And so that means that every dollar given actually goes directly to the work that, in this case, ECIP is doing for us. Each of you for taking time out of your day to join us and learn about the work of ECIP and find out how we were able to buy some breakfast for the Salvation Army. So I encourage you to invite your friends and family to watch our video if they couldn't make it. And as if we can get those donations to Nancy as soon as possible so she can get on those receipts, that would be great. And if you just mention that it's Moose Jaw Women Who Care, so we can find out what kind of impact we had